What do you think the difference was in this game?
I think some of the same issues popped up. Obviously the transition piece, handful of those are turnovers, of course. The offensive rebounding, been an area of the last couple games, of course, it bothered us. And, no excuse. Obviously, back-to-back is always hard, and it's a very physical, aggressive team. Makes it a little bit more difficult.
How can you guys guard against sort of running out of gas or whatever you would call it on the second night of back-to-backs?
Well, I don't know if it's just that. I think sometimes you miss shots, and we missed a ton of pretty good looks. Some of those turn into runouts and transition opportunities, but I thought last night we showed a little bit more resilience to that. You're gonna have nights like that where you come out a little flat, but I think if you look back at the stretch of games prior to these last two, I think it's been trending in a better direction. With our overall disposition, the activity, and I think it's tough. You reintegrating rather. A handful of new guys trying to figure out how to rebalance and get guys back into the fold. And it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of reacclimate.
Wes, I don't mean to be obvious, but they were really efficient in capitalizing on turnovers and second chance points. Is that the type of thing that's just going to happen when their offense is operating pretty efficiently overall? Or
it's the strength of that team.
Yeah.
So we knew that ball security and value possession would be key. And obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over, but when you do, you got to find a way to show a little more resilience to those turnovers. And oftentimes they got behind us, and those turned into layups and dunks.
Also wanted to ask, you're taking a little longer after games this season. I'm wondering if that's something you guys are doing where you're talking to guys or going over things, or if there's more kind of analytics involved post-game now?
A little bit of everything, and I'm just taking my time, making you guys wait a little bit.
Wes, what's your sense on the morale in the locker room after this game?
I would assume frustration, disappointment. Those would be natural reactions. I don't think it's an issue of buy-in, or it's just more the in the moment frustration when things don't go well, and you try to put effort into something and it doesn't pan out.
Coach, for a team and for a coach like yourself who really harped on playing fast with pace and transition over the offseason, playing against a team like Toronto that does the same thing, playing really fast, and them having outscored the Wizards heavily in transition tonight, is it a challenge to overcome that when a team kind of plays your same style?
I don't think so. We had a lot of success against Indiana and playing the same way, and they're a team that's probably in the top three as well in that category. The biggest key was, I think, the turnovers. Now, it's the type of transition opportunities you get. If you're not getting shots to the rim versus, you're getting quality looks, and a team's taking the ball out of net and pushing and attacking. We've had success doing both, but when you turn the ball over, I think it just complicates things quite a bit.
What would you make of Denny's defense, not just tonight, but over the last, let's say, 2 weeks or so?
I think in general, pretty good. I think he's done a pretty good job of not fouling. We've asked him, along with some other guys, to guard different matchups. Guarding those quick, shifty guards is a lot different than guarding, two wings like we saw last night. So it's a different feel. So finding that, that cadence of where you're steady no matter who you're guarding, but understanding the strength of each individual player. That looks different sometimes from night to night.
You guys got out-rebounded by 19 tonight, have been out-rebounded in most of the games this season. Is that due to just a lack of size or lack of boxing out? What goes into that?
Some of it is, we're undersized a little bit, but I think it's just a mindset as well. We can't afford to ball watch, and I think at times we do. It's doing your work early, kind of reading the flight of the ball. There's a number of things that go into it, but it's been an issue. And it's something that we're aware of, something that we harp on, and there's no schematics to boxing out. There's individual technique, but there's not a. Of course, you can do box out drills and things like that. And it's something that we work on at times, but it's just got to be more of a shifted mindset that this is a priority.
And with Gallo leaving tonight's game, do you envision any changes to the back end of that front court? Anyone stepping up or coming in?
We'll see how he shakes out. A little bit of back tightness. Spasms. I'm sorry. So we'll see. I don't foresee it being anything substantial.
last time out where you were red hot in the first half and didn't get the ball as much in the second half. How hard is it to get back into the mental flow of things tonight, one day later?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way the game goes sometimes. It's the way life goes. You have a great half, and the second half could be completely different. And tonight it flip-flopped. Didn't do much in the first half of tonight's game and turned it on in the second. So it doesn't really matter. It's our job to stay locked in the whole game no matter what. So first half, second half, whole game, no game, it's my job to be as locked in as possible for as long as I can.
You got another pretty cool dunk tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Thanks.
know that backdoor cuts has been maybe an underrated aspect of your game, but is it something that you're trying to develop in your game, just throwing it down when you get into the paint like that?
Yeah. Trying to be much more of a visible athlete this year. I've kind of always had it, but I never showed it. So taking my chances to put that on display this year, and when you go to the rim with that kind of force, people start challenging you less and less. And a dunk's one of the most high percentage shots you can have. So I'm gonna try to do as much as possible.
Yeah, people are saying you're not sneaky athletic anymore. You're just athletic.
No, just athletic.
How'd you like being mic'd up?
Oh, it was good. You kind of forget about it as the game goes along. You kind of just sometimes remember I got a mic in my pocket or my jersey. But hopefully they got some good audio. Hopefully they got some stuff that they could use, and happy to help. Yeah.
You had a really good first half yesterday, 15 points. A couple of times this year you've had really strong first halves. You haven't done as well in the second half. What can you do to improve, when they zero in on you in the second half to kind of break through?
There's little things I can touch up here and there. I mean, obviously making shots is a big deal. I don't think I made a shot in the second half of last night. Took a few attempts, but I'm not one of the first couple options on this team, and that's been clear since the very beginning, since I started playing games. And so when I get hot and I start making shots and making an impact, it's almost time for the other guys to step in and take advantage of that. Teams aren't helping off of me as much, and that gives Tyus and Jordan and Kuz chances to drive. But also when I do heat up, start making a bunch of shots, it's on me to be as aggressive as possible, as much as possible, and taking advantage of that, because teams tend to make really, really big adjustments when I get going. So just gotta be more aggressive, be more intentional, and hunt more shots.
You mentioned not being one of the primary options on this team. Wes said yesterday that you and Gaff are one of the best on the team at creating opportunities for yourself, even when plays aren't necessarily run for you.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys able to create those opportunities, just off regular action and not being, setting back screens and consistently trying to get you guys open?
Yeah, it's an art. It's an art to score without any plays being drawn for you. And that's kind of the role that I've had in this league for a couple years now. And I know it's going to help me in the long run as my role grows here as the years go on. But yeah, you have to be really sneaky. You have to screen hard. You got to run the floor in transition, collect offensive rebounds. Little things like that help you put together big nights when you're not a focal point of the offense that we're trying to run. So I'm really proud of how I've evolved my game in that aspect. When shots are actions aren't kind of handed to me, it's a good thing to have in your back pocket.
What do you think gave them the edge tonight?
Level of physicality. All in all, they came out with a level of aggressiveness that I feel like caught us by surprise. Point of emphasis tonight was just like the transition piece, offensive rebounding. So, like I said, the physicality piece is something that we should have, I would say, be better at. And, I take pride in that because, trying to come out and set the tone in those areas, I felt like I lacked in that area tonight. So, and just the transition piece, it was just like a level of communication I think we lacked in too.
Kuz said they did a really good job of kind of hunting the matchups that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
What's the key to countering that?
Guard your yard, If you feel that they're trying to, I would say, put you in a matchup that they want, at the end of the day, you just have to, pretty much just step up to the plate. It's a lot of teams out here that are trying to find certain matchups at the end of the day that are trying to get us, on our heels and put us in a position to where we have to scramble. But that's just pretty much any team in the league. Every team in the league does that to each team, and down the stretch, we just have to find ways to adjust to it.
Gaff, over the last 10 or so games, maybe you've seen an uptick in a lot of your numbers, offensively, defensively. What do you think has led to some of your consistency in production?
Just how hard I work. I come in every day and I try to just make myself better in the areas that I lack in on a day-to-day basis. I try to really just hold myself accountable and to put myself in position to where I can succeed. And with that being said, I just come in and it's just like a regular 9 to 5. That's how I treat it. I come in and I put my head down and I go to work for sure.
What are some of the, if you can point to any specifics, what are some of the areas that you've seen yourself improve on most, whether it's from, your first game here as a Wizard to now?
In all honesty, for sure, just, my physicality. I felt like that I took a major leap in that area, so more so just any other game besides tonight. I felt like that I've actually taken a step up to actually just show just like what I'm capable of out there on the floor. I do have my lapses time to time, of course, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make up for my mistakes and I'm going to make up, just pretty much anything that we're lacking at the end of the day. I try to be the energy guy. I want to be the anchor of the defense, and I just want to be in the position to where it can help us win games.
I saw you taking some threes in pregame. You had a mid-range today. Is that something you've been exploring, adding that jumper into your game to kind of stretch the floor?
Yeah, most definitely. Whenever the time comes and the ball is in my hand in those situations, I want to be ready for it. So really just being consistent and working on those things is helping me get comfortable in those situations.
And then you have your clothing brand you recently dropped. Can you talk to me a little about the Christmas drop that you guys had with the Landlord brand?
Oh, yeah. This is the second drop that we've had. The first drop was great, and just pretty much just piggybacking off of the first drop, we just want to keep it going, getting the merch out and just doing as much as we can to just get a bunch of landlord stuff to everybody. Everybody's a landlord in their own way,
Gaff, would you say this last handful of games is the most consistent stretch of your career?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, just mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. I felt like that I'm actually just a little bit more locked in with everything. And I just kind of push myself. I hold myself accountable. And I tell the coaches and I tell my teammates, I'm just like, push me as much as y'all can. Because once y'all push me, that'll put me in the mindset of pushing myself. Because, I have guys behind me that are helping me out. And I want to be able to do the same thing for them. So I return the favor. So that's just one of the main things with it.
Rebounding has been a major point of emphasis for a lot of this season. When you sit and the team doesn't grab as many rebounds, are you on the bench thinking, I need to get back into this game to grab some boards?
Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, I try to be a good teammate, Everybody gets frustrated when it comes to just the offensive rebounds. But at the end of the day, we just can't stray away from each other. I can always come out and be like, I need to be back in the game. I need to do this. I need to do that. But I can also motivate people, too. So when it comes to that, instead of just getting in my own head like, dang, I should be back in the game, I should be out there, I try to motivate guys. That's the main thing, because frustrations do happen, and it's a lot of times where most guys are out of position. Most guys, don't put themselves in position to go for rebounds. So when it comes to them coming to the sidelines, whether it's a timeout, coming out of the game, just talking to them, got to get on the glass, got to do this, got to do that. We got to make a better effort in this area. Those are some of the things that I'm trying to grow in to be able to kind of push guys how they push me.
Being a quote-unquote undersized center, being 6'10", does that put a chip on your shoulder just to be out there, be more gritty, dive for loose balls, stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I'm from Arkansas, nitty gritty. I was raised in the trenches, and that's just my mindset now. Just having just that mentality going out and accepting the challenge that's in front of you. You really can't just back down from anything, because at the end of the day, you're on the floor. You get thrown in the fire, you're not gonna cool off no time soon.